First of all, I want to apologize if you hear any vibrational noise, the yee yee kind of stuff. That's going to be either notifications from Facebook Messenger, Gmail, email, if you will, text, you name it. So I do apologize for that in advance while you listen and watch this video podcast. Last year, actually almost 2 years, going on February next year, I did a video where I talked about how the final episode called Go for the Gold, which is the last episode of the Raccoons, which is a Canadian-based cartoon created by Kevin Gillis. And it was originally seen here in the U.S. as a regular series, on the Disney Channel from the mid-'80s to early '90s, and actually started off, as a series of specials, if you will, I think broadcast on NBC and CBS. I think CBS had the Christmas Raccoons, which was the first one. And then I think NBC had Raccoons and the Lost Star, which was an hour-long mini-movie, if you will, to really get us to know who the characters were. And I think also set up, maybe, the potential series. They also had another one called The Raccoons on Ice. I think that may have also been on NBC. And then they had a straight-to-video special called Let's Dance, which was basically a compilation of music videos along with some new animations. Basically, the plot of that is, or the semi-plot is, it's a party taking place in the middle of the night, with Bert and, Ralph and Melissa and the friends gathered together to just have a good time and reminisce and, all that. And I think that too, which ran for about 45 minutes to an hour, also like Lost Star, served as an introduction to it served, I should say, as an introduction to the series, if you will, as to what the series was going to be like. But speaking of the series, getting back to what I was saying, Go for the Gold was the last episode shown in 1990. I think it may have been spring, summer of 1990 that this episode was shown. And to say that, it's a good episode, it would be an understatement. I mean, it is good, but it's good for the reasons because of the fact that, as I said in the video, in fact, the title of the video says it best, it kind of hints at the idea that Bert Raccoon, who is basically the established main star of the show, finally gets together with Lisa Raccoon, who is a character introduced first and foremost in the season 4 episode, Spring Fever, and then is brought back as a semi-regular in season 5 with the episode Moving In. And she's also voiced by Lisa Lohan. Lisa Lohan is the girl that does the singing for some of the songs and is the one that you see in the Run With Us music video because she's the one that sings it. She's more noted for her interpretation, her version of the song than the original version, if you catch my drift. And I know I say if you catch my drift a lot, my audio videos or videos, so I know that might annoy people, but hey, that's just me. But yeah, Lisa Raccoon is voiced by Lisa Lohan, and bit of trivia, Lisa Raccoon was created specifically for Lisa Lohan. Her name, of course, comes from Lisa Lohan's name. So again, she was created specifically for Lohan to voice in the show. And she does an admirable job, in my opinion. She does a very admirable job. I think, I think honestly, when you watch the episodes, which by the way, the entire series and the specials, as far as I know, are all uploaded here on YouTube via the Run With Us Productions YouTube channel and another channel called the Raccoons. Or at least, that's what, I looked and located, while searching on YouTube. So yeah, the official one, is the Run With Us Productions YouTube page. That has all of it. I think they may even have the Nutcracker prints on there, which Kevin Gillis also contributed to from a song perspective as well as a story perspective or something like that. I can't really recall, but I think it might also be on there, or at least a song and a trailer maybe for the movie. But anyway, the reason I bring this up, one question a lot of people have when it comes to these kind of potential pairings, even today in today's world, I should say, with all kinds of franchises, the one question they have is why? Why hint, if not pretty much allude or imply? Why imply and allude, hint, at the fact that Lisa and Bert will get together. Why even play that card? Well, I think the reason being is because when you look at the Raccoons, it's one of those rare shows back in the mid-'80s, even from its humble beginnings in 1980, it's one of those franchises that has, allowed the characters to grow along with the show. Bert, himself is a character that's always fun-loving, laid back, and all that. But he's also someone that can grow and evolve. And Spring Fever was kind of part of that, character, personality growing and evolving. He basically never knew what it was like to fall in love. Well, he probably did, but he never really knew what it was like to have someone to, pursue, have someone to, want to be with, spend the rest of your life with. He never knew that. He knew basically what love is and, how it might feel, but he never actually felt it until Spring Fever, if that makes any sense. So when Lisa came around, that was part of his character growth, being, implemented in by Kevin Gillis. That now he's going to learn what it's like to be in love and have a goal to pursue. And that goal is to be with Lisa. Now, after Spring Fever and everything, where pretty much, Bert tries to impress her, doesn't work, but then she kind of comes to realize that, I think it's hinted at, I got to go back and watch the episode, but I think it's hinted at that she does kind of realize what Bert was trying to do. And I think that kind of makes her like him a little bit more. Like, well, at least he was trying to tell me something. Like, he was trying to tell me, oh, he wants to be with me, but, but I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say here on the fly. This is the one thing about my videos and my channel. A lot of what I do, and I'm sure a lot of you that have followed me for a long time realize that I'm just a guy that, goes off the cusp, if you will. I'm just somebody that tells it like it is. I don't really, unless I have to, unless I really want to try it, I'm not someone that's going to go off bullet points of scripts. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I think Lisa, and again, I got to go back and watch the episode. I think she realizes how much Bert put in to wanting to impress her. That, she kind of, in my opinion, kind of, took that as probably one of the sweetest things anybody could have done, and which is why she ended up being friends with him. And throughout season 5, the friendship does grow because it's actually Bert in the Moving In episode, which, by the way, when you look online through Wikipedia and such, anybody that has official chronological episodic list or episode list, in chronological continuity order, basically the number of episodes in between Spring Fever and Moving In is 9. So we're not even 9, not 9, but we're not even 10 episodes in. We're not even 10 episodes in, and she's already making a return in Moving In season 5. Now, my assumption as to why she was brought in is, well, first of all, we got to know who Bentley was. Bentley is the nephew of Ralph and Melissa, becomes good friends with Bert, looks up to him as his mentor, his idol. And, that's all we knew about the extended family of Bert's friends. So Lisa was brought in to expand that family even more and maybe even kind of be like that, as I said earlier, that pursuedness or that goal for Bert to achieve so that he could well, he's part of the family. There's no doubt, but like officially be part of it in a more than just a regular, hey, I'm a part of the family, but in a friend-like way. So yeah, she was brought in to help expand that. And then I think because Kevin Gillis felt like, okay, she got over big, not just with test audiences and people they would screen the episodes to, but he's probably sure that, hey, she's going to get over big with the audience in general, that he decided, let's just, expand the family even more. Let's bring in Bentley and Lisa on a permanent basis, along with, their parents. And the rest is history. And the way they do it is actually kind of cool, because what happens is Bentley and Lisa's dad takes a job in Evergreen. And it's basically far away from the city they were in. It's a train ride or two. It's basically a train ride, essentially, from where they live to Evergreen. As established in Spring Fever. But to get to the point, it's Bert moving in, which is I think the 4th episode of season 5, that helps Lisa kind of, understand that, yeah, you may not like it, you may not like the fact that you had to move here and move away from your friends, but the most important thing above that is your family, and you need to support your family. And it's Bert that helps her kind of realize that. And throughout the season, in the episodes she's part of, or, is, kind of cameoing in and all that, or at least has a small part where she'll speak and have a line, and then that's it. Basically, you could tell that the friendship is growing. It's evolving. It's getting better, if not stronger, I should say. And it all culminates at the final episode, basically, called Goal for the Gold, where they start to get competitive with each other, because they're going to compete in this kind of like triathlon-like event. But what's interesting about this triathlon event is it's being, run by this con man that, and his son, that basically go around to several areas and con people out of their money, with a promise of, the money we're going to win from this is going to go to this and that to help out, when in fact it doesn't. So, anyway, what happens is you get a little tension between them. And when you look at that tension between them, you might say, well, why does that feel like, why does it feel and look like it's very familiar to me, or familiar to you? Why is that? It's because it's the same kind of tension you see, misunderstanding and tension. Thank goodness it's rectified real quickly, but it's the same kind of tension, that you would see in films focusing on, basically the obvious couple that's going to get together. Because how many times have we seen in a Hallmark film, and I've talked about this numerous times when I've talked about the Christmas films and just Hallmark in general in their presentation, but how many times have we seen this in their films? How many times have we seen this in some of the more popular and sometimes underrated romantic comedy films, where basically the story is different, but of course the misunderstanding and tension is pretty much obvious or the same as what you've seen elsewhere? How many times have we seen this with the resolution being that the couple finds out, it was a misunderstanding and it was just tension, and then they end up getting together? How many times have we seen that? A lot, right? And again, Hallmark is probably the most guilty of this, and I say that with all due respect. But when you look at the tension and misunderstanding through the competitiveness between Bert and Lisa, you kind of feel like, hey, doesn't that feel like it's hinting at, them becoming more than just friends at the end? And lo and behold, pretty much at the end of the episode, it's giving off those vibes. Because what happens is the con man's son tries to cheat his way to victory like he's done before, and he sabotages all the competitors, including Lisa, because Lisa is like the most competitive one. Lisa's role in the series, part of her character, I should say, is she's very athletic. She's very sports oriented at times. She likes basketball. That's pretty much a given. That's pretty much a given. But anyway, she gets taken out. Basically, the guy throws tacks on the road. It causes her to get flat tires and crash into a tree. Bert sees this, and he checks on her, and she basically encourages him and says, "It's you. It's up to you now. You go. You do this." Because the one thing, like I said earlier, that's established with the friendship growing and getting better and all that, is it's pretty much established, or at least hinted at in season 5, that Lisa, like Bert, recognizes him as somewhat of a good athlete, when he puts his mind to it. And again, Bert, it's the same way with Lisa. So they kind of have that understanding, like, hey, Bert's a good athlete, when he puts his mind to it. And, so am I. So that's, that's the one thing they have in common. But anyway, she's the one that encourages him to do it, to go finish and win the race. And he does, even though the son tries to cheat a little bit more. But his cheating catches up to him because basically, Bert's determination, kind of causes a situation to where the son, he's trying to hold on to Bert's shirt, his sweater, and all he does is causes it to tear, and it basically gives Bert enough velocity, if you will, to go, across the finish line and win. So yeah, there's that. But what's interesting, though, is what happens at the end. So Bert, being, the winner, gets the medal, right? He gets the gold medal, but he doesn't keep it. No. What happens is the last thing we end on is Lisa going outside her house, getting the mail, and then seeing that there's a package for her in it. And when she opens it up, she sees it's the gold medal. And then there's a note from Bert saying, "To the rightful winner from Bert Raccoon." And again, she sees it's the gold. Well, actually, what she does is she opens the package, she reads the letter, and then she sees the gold medal. And then the last thing she says is, "Thank you, Bert. Thank you." And she says it in a way to where you can pretty much interpretate that maybe she's starting to realize, hey, Bert might be the one. Just the way she says it. Like she kind of like, I think she's realizing, hey, maybe Bert could be that person. And that's kind of how the series ends. It ends, with her being the last character you see. But of course, again, like I said, she was created specifically for Lisa Lohan and voiced by Lisa Lohan. So she's the last character and voice you hear, in the show. So I think that's a great move on Kevin Gillis, part. But, to me, when you look at that, it hints at the fact that she, and I believe I said this in my initial video, she probably now sees Bert as more than just a friend. But we don't get no resolution. We don't. We get no resolution, no answers whatsoever to whether or not, they ended up becoming more. We don't. We don't get that answer. So, the way I look at it, when, you ask the question as to why, and I know it took a while to get back to asking that question, again, as I mentioned earlier, I think it was to help Bert's character grow and also kind of give him something to, set a goal on. Like, how do I impress this girl enough that I'm friends with that maybe we can become more than that down the line? And, I think, honestly, it's a great move. I think it's a great move because when you look at some franchises today and everything, or in the past decade or so, a couple of decades, you see something similar. With My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, people may not like Spike and Rarity's, little romantic tensions and moments in here, here and there, either in the show or the comics. But they're put there because it gives Spike, when you get down to it, it gives Spike a goal. It gives him something to want to achieve, and that's to eventually win the heart, in the right manner of Rarity. He wants to show her that, hey, I might be a small dragon and everything. I may not be a pony, but but my love for you is, bigger than that, and I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove it someday by winning your heart. And, as we see in Best Gift Ever, that's exactly what he does, in my opinion. Because you don't follow Best Gift, you don't follow that little story plot in that special. You don't follow that up with what happens in season 9 in the moments there, especially with Dragon Dropped. You don't do that. Let's be honest. You don't do that. But the point I'm getting at is, crushing on Rarity and wanting to, throughout the series, depending on who was writing it, wanting to pursue her and, try to, win her heart, in somehow, some way, prove himself to her. That gave Spike a goal to get better. That gave him a goal to get better, to prove he wasn't just some little baby dragon as some people looked at him, but he was a mature dragon, just small for his stature. And that was it. The same kind of goes like with, let's say, Sonic, if you will. Sonic, basically, depending on how you look at it, he's a free spirit, kind of like Bert. But being around someone like Sally, let's say in the Satyam cartoon and the Archie comics, gave him a reason outside of wanting to, find his family and basically get his family back and, get the planet back. It gave him a reason, Sally that is, to, continue that goal, to continue pursuing that goal, because here's two characters that grew up as friends, but, obviously as they got older, they started to become more than that. And for Sonic, it, gave him a reason like, well, if I'm going to win Sally's heart, I've got to do what I can to prove myself to her as a hero, even if I have to do it in my own unique way that might annoy her at times. But, here's the thing, the same could be for Sally. Sally basically wanted to prove herself to Sonic, because even though she could be like, yeah, some of his tactics may be annoying and everything, but if I'm going to prove to him that I want to spend my life with him, I've got to prove that I can accept that and work around it. And as we've seen in the cartoon and the comics, having that occur, makes things work. They do. Having that occur makes things work. And the same, as crazy as it sounds, the same goes for Tails. Tails was, crushing on Fiona before Ian Flynn decided to do what he did with her character, but still, Tails had a reasoning. He had a reasoning to want to continue fighting himself, because he wants to impress this girl that, even though she might be older than him, he wants to impress her. So her being there gave him a reason to want to continue. And, and that's basically how you look with Bert. You look at Bert, you look at Bert as, in his thing with Lisa, and her coming in and them starting that little hinting here and there from the first time to basically the end, her coming in, her character, and that relationship kind of, being the way, that friendship relationship, if you will, kind of being the way it was, like I said, it gave Bert a reason to want to get better, to want to prove himself as more than just being a relaxed individual, someone that, just was carefree and everything. And it's and it to me is probably one of the best directions for a character, not just for one character, but for both characters. I think you're ever going to see, even in mid 80s, early 90s cartoon, because when you look at it from Lisa's perspective, she looks at Bert as a close friend, a close confidant, someone she can play some sports with, very competitively. But you can also tell that over time, she is, she's kind of growing more fond of Bert than just as a friend. Because, there are significant moments in the series, especially in season 5, that shows that. Like in Join the Club and everything, when, Bert catches her smoking with her friend and everything. And she's trying to explain, that she's trying to explain that there's a misunderstanding here. And, it basically takes this episode for her to realize, yeah, this friend of mine is not the friend she used to be. because because it's a friend that she used to have back in the city, but now this friend is not who she used to be, and all that because of what she's doing, and it nearly cost her a very good friendship in Bert, or it cost her a very good friend in Bert. But here's what's interesting: again, going back to Go for the Gold, which is later on in the series, the final episode. There's this misunderstanding. She's trying to explain herself to Bert. There's that tension again. And again, her being brokenhearted over what happened, losing her friend and almost losing Bert. But I guess off screen finally, I guess making up and, making him understand what happened and such. To me, is a great moment for her because, again, just like she, allowed Bert's character to evolve and grow because she was that goal he wanted to achieve. He wanted to, reach and, make a reality because, of the fact that he wanted to be more than friends with her, which he was fine with. Being friends with her, he was fine with. But obviously you could tell he wanted to be more because you don't put what you did in Spring Fever, you don't put that out there and not, kind of use that as a catalyst to, kind of acknowledge that, yeah, Bert has a thing for Lisa, but we're going to play it, we're going to play it low. We're going to play it on the downside. We're going to have our moments here and there, not just for him, but for her. And that's what they do. Enjoying the Club is one of those episodes. So overall, I think, I think their, relationship, friendship that, happened in the show, I think that's the reason why it occurred, to help both characters, grow, grow and evolve and develop, have that character development for them, just get, better and better over time, ending with, of course, the implication and the hinting, the implying, if you will, the indication that they might end up together if didn't already. Now, the only thing that could have made that officially confirmed, in my opinion, is if Kevin Gillis was able to do his As Long as Forever movie on the Raccoons, because Kevin Gillis had a plan. He had a plan to do an animated movie. I don't know if it was going to be a reboot or if it's going to be a finale, a continuation of the original series. I'm not really sure. But he had plans to do a movie. And from the looks of it, it would have included all the characters, from the Raccoon franchise, and mostly from, season 4 and 5 and potentially beyond. But yeah, it would have included all of them. And again, we don't know if that would have, been a continuation, a finale, to the original series or something new. We don't know. But something tells me either way, you were going to probably see Bert and Lisa end up together no matter how the movie was presented. Whether it's a reboot, something new, fresh start, fresh coat of paint kind of deal, or if it's a, finale, to the original series. Something tells me that part of that movie would have seen Bert and Lisa end up as an item. And all because of how, the character growth was done, in the series. And that to me is why, Kevin Gillis, in my opinion, hinted at Bert and Lisa becoming, a couple, becoming an item, if you will, at the end or throughout the series. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Let me know if you agree with me on this. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about it? Do you kind of agree with what I'm talking about here? As ramblish as it may sound to some. But let me know. Let me know down in the comment section. Also, do me a favor, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out in a big, big way, guys. Also, go into the description, click on the link. It's at the bottom of the description to my Teespring store. Find merchandise there you can't find anywhere else. Grab yourself a long sleeve shirt in time for winter, a mug, a mouse pad, a t-shirt, you name it. You'll find some items there I think you will enjoy. Also, click on, the links to find my content elsewhere here on the internet from rumble.com. I just added a new item on there, or a new video on rumble.com, so go check it out there. Also, check out Odyssey.com. I'm trying to go that as much as I can. Also, check out Divanart.com at BVW 1979. I just added something there as well. Basically, it's the same video I added to Rumble. Because as I've alluded to in a previous on-screen video, there is some content I cannot put here on YouTube without risking limited availability and age restriction. So I'm just going to place it over there in those areas so you guys can check those out. You can check out those channels of mine as well as the videos over there, I should say. Also, check me out at the various podcast, audio, and for some video podcasts out there from Spotify for podcasters, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, iTunes, Radio Public, and Pandora, like I said, Radio Public, and many, many more. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear from you on this. Do you agree with what I had to say? Do you agree with, that the reason this thing between Bert and Lisa became, a part of the show was to grow the characters? Let me know. Love to hear from you on that. And until then, I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.